hide that stream output. Let's see. We are currently live right now, but let me go to youtube.com.
Welcome to the Kaiju Network podcast commentary of Kong Skull Island. But before we start that off, we have a special announcement we have to make. And that special announcement is that going forward, starting this month, we are actually only going to be doing one podcast a month. The reason why we are doing that is because just our personal lives are getting really busy right now, and then there are a few other things that we would like to do, and unfortunately it's gotten to a point where work with the podcast, it's in order to even bring out some form of quality with the podcast, it's taking a lot of work, and we would like to do better work already. We think that compared to some podcasts we've done over the years, even the quality right now has sort of dipped a small bit just because we haven't been able to give it our enough time and attention as we used to back in the day. And again, like I said, because of just being busy on a personal level, and also just wanted to do some other projects, we just decided, at least for now, one podcast a month. And that's just kind of how we're going to do it. It's going to hamper us a little bit. Jason and I, we will have to iron out a few things as far as like, okay, in the future, since we're only doing one podcast a month, are we going to, like, if we're talking about a movie, are we going to do like one movie or two movies? Like, for example, in our re-reviews, we have Destroya and Godzilla 2000 left. So one of the things we have to iron out is, are we going to do just one of the movies at a time? Or are we going to do two, since, it's, a month, there's plenty of time to potentially watch both films. So that's stuff we're just going to have to work out. So that's kind of the big announcement for now.
I just basically just want to feel a little bit worn out. I know both Ken and I have said that a little bit. I know at first we used to do weekly things at the very beginning, then we started going bi-weekly.
Well, and both Jason and I, we both have come to a point too, and I've said this before in the past with him, where I feel inundated by Kaiju year round because of the podcast and the fact too, like with social media and the like, we are always around the fan community as well. So it's just Kaiju constantly, just about all day, every day, and that kind of gets wore out after a while. Quite frankly, I get to a point where I kind of get bored with it.
Yeah, and then messing with the site and the working on the audio version of the podcast and everything, the process that I usually been doing, it sort of is feeling like a job in a way. So I just wanted to at least reduce some of that time, and as well as some of the responsibilities. Maybe can't do some of the things I've been doing for many years. So we'll have to arrange something one of these times. So then sort of reduce some of my responsibilities here and there, and of the such. So yeah, just for me, I just want to make a little bit of a change in my life, and just focus, like Kent mentioned earlier, just focus on other things that I've been wanting to do, and as well as set up more in the long term sort of thing. So yeah, that's
have fun at the Wedding Guzzle Productions TV. It's okay if you can't join. We understand.
So yeah, that's basically it for our announcement for that.
So we're just gonna get right into Kong Skull Island, 2017. Gosh, it seems like yesterday this thing just came out. My son Lincoln here is joining us, like he did with the last commentary with the 2014. He has not seen this movie, even though he probably would tell you otherwise. You can talk now if you want, but anyways, this is a movie I've seen, I think, at least 3, maybe 4 times, including once in the theaters. I have to say this is a movie I enjoy quite a bit. The only reason why I haven't watched it more is because I purchased a lot of movies and TV shows over the last couple of years, and I've been spending a lot of time watching those. I still have many DC animated films up here that I've purchased and have yet to watch them all, for example. Plus, right now I'm going through the old Outer Limits TV show, and that is 49 hours of sci-fi goodness. Jeez. So that's nothing. Twilight Zone, like the original Twilight Zone, is like 74 and a half hours. But excuse me, we're just going through the MonsterVerse, and one of the things I actually would like to do, and I have yet to even tell this to Jason, so he's just learning this for the first time too. One of the things I would like us to potentially do, and this is not official yet, is maybe for the podcast for next month, have it be a commentary on the new King of the Monsters, 2019. Just wrap up the MonsterVerse proper as it is right now.
Yeah, that's what I was essentially thinking that we were possibly going to be doing with the continuation with Kong Skull Island here. And when I was thinking about it for the last few weeks since we haven't done the podcast, that I thought that we were eventually going to be doing a commentary on King of the Monsters. But yeah, as far as Kong Skull Island, for me, this is actually the first viewing for me since it was in theaters. So it's been at least a couple of years since I last saw this movie. So I'm going to get a little bit of a refresher. I know some of the moments from the movie here and there, but yeah, so it's I'm pretty excited and looking forward to watching this movie again for my second time. And also just want to let you know, I think I'm getting a little bit of the seasonal allergies.
Oh, I know you are. I can tell.
Yeah, a little bit early. So I'm a little bit plugged up right now, and my throat is a little bit stuffed up right now. So I'll kind of sniffing and probably be coughing here and there, possibly at times sneezing, blowing my nose. So I got plenty of Kleenexes right here. So I'm pretty much good to go on that. But yeah, other than that, definitely looking forward to seeing Kong Skull Island here.
Yeah, I'm just going to let you know quick few seconds of housekeeping. I'm going to go onto our Facebook page and type in, our special announcement. I know some people don't like the keyboard sounds, but I think this is pretty important. We were going to do 2 separate episodes, and right at the last moment, Jason changed things on me. So
I just thought it was a little bit better doing it this way, fitting it in with this episode, because then it would save me a little bit of time as far as stitching the audio with from that one with this one. So just have it as one.
Yeah. So I just wanted to let you know about that. I just want to share my quick opinions on this film, at least how I thought about it over the last couple of years. And that is, like I said earlier, I really do enjoy this film. And one of the things that I especially like, I think even more about it, is the fact that it got away from the stereotypical Kong story. We've seen that done at least, 3 times, with 33, 76, and 2005. 2005 being my personal favorite out of that whole sort of original Kong storyline. And I was really happy to see that Skull Island, and I knew from the trailers when this thing was getting ready to come up that thankfully this thing was going to be different than what we got, which I didn't want to have to see a 4th telling of the same old Kong story. And thankfully, again, anybody who's listening to this podcast, I'm sure has already seen this film at least once and knows exactly what I'm talking about. This is not the typical sort of classic Kong story.
Yeah, right? I was, when I heard about them making another Kong movie, I was a little bit worried that they were probably going to rehash the same story over again like they did with the 2015 version. I mean, that
2015,
not 2015, 2005. My bad.
Okay.
That
I don't.
But at that iteration of that movie retelling the story was still pretty damn good in its own right. But like you, I was a little bit tired of the same thing. I want something a little bit new, a little bit fresh to the whole Kong character and his universe or world. Just something a little bit different this time around. And that's essentially what we got with this movie. Maybe it's just, I would say, a tad bit of the same, but rest maybe in a couple areas, but the rest of it is so much different compared to that rehashing that they've been doing with Kong for at least, was it 4 films or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry here, I'm typing. So I'm watching the Blu-ray, and so let's just go ahead and get started here. Right. I'm at the menu screen here. And anybody who is not familiar with our commentary procedure, I will go 3, 2, 1, go. When I say go, you hit the OK or play button on your player, because not everyone now has a Blu-ray player just because technology sucks anymore.
So let me switch over to
we gotta turn off our cams here.
Well, not yours. I just need to switch to the our cover here, so we can still keep our cams running. But yeah.
Oh, it's gonna cover both of our.
Yep.
Oh well, okay then.
So, are you ready?
I am ready. So, you ready for the countdown?
Yep.
Okay, so here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. You excited to be seeing Kong Skull Island?
I think this movie's going to be great watching it in 4K.
You can sit down and watch.
But I don't have a chair.
You want to go get a chair?
Yeah.
Then go get a chair.
Watch will be too heavy to.
You can have Mom help you. You gotta be quiet though. Hope's trying to sleep.
at least this time I got some subtitles since I lowered the volume down.
I can't believe how warm it gets in this room, even after I got rid of my desktop computer here like 2 years ago. Like, it's ridiculously warm in here.
10-cent pictures.
I really like how, too, like when you compare the text in this film along with the 2014, I think maybe even the 2019 film, it's the same font.
Yeah.
Oh, I may have to leave this door open. Oh, we're getting a nice cross breeze. Oh, this is nice.
And by the way, you may want to lower the volume down on your end just in case.
I'm going to lower it down one. That's all I'm doing.
Who is that?
That's a guy, pilot.
I think Hershey was not very happy about your new setup.
Hershey's not. Well, I might put it away for her. You're on the podcast.
Oh.
You say hi to the whole world.
Hi. Can I stay in here?
You can stay. You can actually leave that open, and we're getting a nice breeze. You don't want to watch the movie?
I'm going to watch the football game.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting.
Why are they shouting each other?
This is during World War II. One's American, one's Japanese. They were enemies in World War II.
And this is a good addition to the Kong franchise. At least that they're adding a little bit of the past, sort of close to when he started, but obviously in World War II.
Whereas that first movie, the very first, was pre-World War II.
Yeah.
Because I've cut my hand a number of times on blades, and just, I know how that feels.
Yeah. You think that would have given him a really deep cut on his fingers, almost like...
Well, it was I think, on his hand, actually.
No, it looked like it was like right around towards the beginning of where his fingers are attached to his hand. And we somewhat get the early appearance of Khan here, which is a bit amusing.
Brings you right in. And I like how to continue the stock footage from that was set up with Godzilla. I don't know why I had it.
2014. But yeah, I'd say it at least blends right in with the whole MonsterVerse in a way. It's like sort of a stylistic theme to it.
Yeah, top secret and all that stuff.
You got the Monarch.
I don't care what you say. I can't hear a darn thing, so I'm turning the volume up. If we get into trouble for any reason, which I know we won't, I will take the blame. It's on our podcast, so. Can you kind of move over that way a bit? But you can. I would like to see too. I did. Can you confirm if I listened to the Kong score? I thought I did either early this year or late last year. Because I know I at one point I either was like, okay, I'm finally going to get around to it, and I did it, or I'm like, I'm going to finally get around to it. And I thought I talked about it on one of the podcasts like within the last year.
About listening to the soundtrack?
Yeah. I think I did.
You might have. I know I have at least a couple times. And I know I mentioned about it, and it's pretty darn good.
Oh, it is good. And of course, that's me assuming I've already listened to it. Little do you know, John Goodman.
And by the way, I'm just curious. Do you have your mic plugged into your laptop?
Yeah, it's plugged in.
Okay. Yeah,
you want me to turn the volume up?
No, I was just curious because I know last time you accidentally didn't have your mic, and so I
made sure this time.
Yeah.
Here, let me turn it up just a smidge. How's that?
It sounds better.
Is that funny? You're a goofy guy.
I can come to my steps. I'm at the.
None of what you said made any sense.
Why was Congo doing this?
He was climbing up that ledge there.
But why can he not do it?
He was. You saw that scene.
Oh, Link.
And 2, King of the Monsters confirmed, and this movie confirms it too, but it's brought into King of the Monsters, the whole Hollow Earth theory that is originally brought up here.
Yeah.
Oh, why is that bottle? What is in that bottle?
Nothing. It's a collector's bottle.
Or it's just for decoration?
Yes. It's so interesting how John Goodman, was kind of this comedic actor for a decent chunk of the early part of his career. Now all of a sudden is doing like super serious character work.
I think he's pretty good at it, though.
Oh, he's good. I just think it's so funny. It's like Tom Hanks. When you take a look at a lot of Tom Hanks' earlier work, he was mainly all comedy too.
Yeah.
And hey, how's it going? How's it going, Christopher? Sorry, I didn't have it over on YouTube.
But yeah, it's also hard to believe that he did Fred Flintstone in that Flintstones movie many years ago.
94.
Yeah. Then that guy from Step Brothers.
I first saw him in Fun with Dick and Jane.
Yeah, that's been a long time ago since I've last seen that movie. Every time I see that other guy that's next to John Goodman, I always think that's the guy from Star Wars, but no, that's a completely different.
No, that's a different guy.
It's like, that's John Boyega. This guy isn't.
I think Christopher was looking for a conversation partner, and we took too long to respond. We weren't on our YouTube channel, so.
Well, you weren't. I'm on over at the Twitch
at
the moment, so.
Yeah, we try to keep up on it, but then we get sidetracked with what we're doing here.
Yeah. By the way, here we are over at Vietnam. Of course, this movie's taking place during the Vietnam War at one of the hangouts. And I was surprised that Samuel L. Jackson was part of this whole movie when I first heard about him.
John Goodman and even Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, basically almost everyone from the entire Marvel universe because Brie Larson is also in this too.
I like Brie Larson before she became cool.
I'm sort of surprised that they apparently aren't making an appearance for Godzilla vs. Kong, but I don't know if they might, but just from the looks of things, it's hard to believe that they're not going to be part of it. It's General Ward.
General Skyfox or Star Fox.
What's that conversation doing by you?
That's a picture of us. It's a special picture.
Can I go there?
If you want a crazy picture like that, yeah, we could take one of you.
Are there no monsters there?
There are no monsters, dude. Why are you so spooked all of a sudden? You usually imitate one. Now all of a sudden you're like, huh? By the way, and I'm going to talk about this stuff on air since we're going to be doing, one podcast a month indefinitely here. I started thinking earlier. I'm like, we could do, like 2 movies a month, and just make the format more streamlined. Because typically anymore, our average movie review podcast is about 2.5 hours, and I figured we can make it streamlined to where we cover each movie in like anywhere from at least 30 minutes to like 45 minutes or an hour max, and we actually would get done sooner than we typically do.
Yeah, but I know with us doing the 2+ hours, I know we usually dive in pretty deep for those certain movies that we review. But yeah, I would say at least
you just would have to not go as deep.
Yeah, and then maybe have write up different sections of, what'd you think of the plot/story, the characters, visual effects, music, so on and so forth, and then get to the whole overall thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could still have a pretty decent conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We just wouldn't have to be so ticky-tacky, which is fine. We would streamline the conversation a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make it so short, though, to that you, are more or less just glossing over everything. So we saw Godzilla vs. Destroyer, and bye. So, what do you think, Jason? Yeah, I liked it too. Bye. All right, that wraps it up.
So, back to Kong Skull Island here. The one thing that I'd say separates this movie with Godzilla 2014 and possibly King of the Monsters is that this movie seems to be a lot more colorful in a way, like very vibrant colors, as you've seen in the posters and probably some of the trailers too. That's why I like. And 2, at first viewing of the film in theaters, I really enjoy watching these characters.
Well, you got good actors.
Yeah.
The color palette of this movie, yeah, you got some different colors here and there, but overall, the majority of the colors are kind of like what I would consider like your tannish yellow palette. Is that Christopher on there, or we have someone else new on YouTube? I don't want to be alienating people here. Yep, there's
Why was he doing this?
Because he's Remington.
Look at all those sparks.
Hey.
Why was Remy doing that?
Because he's a kitty cat. Right, Remy?
And he doesn't like you say something to him.
Well, you don't like it when I say certain things to you, so here we go. I don't like it when you say certain things to me, so how about that?
Yeah, it's fine.
Is it?
Yep.
I don't think it is.
For some reason in this scene, I don't know, for some reason I'm starting to get the whole atmosphere from the 76 Kong movie. I don't know why.
I really would like to like that movie. Oh, this guy, his Dutch is just okay. Anybody who's ever seen some of those AT&T commercials? Crickets? Apparently so.
Maybe not.
Anyone for tennis?
No, never.
I just kind of want to briefly, gloss over kind of the whole Kong franchise, if you will, so to speak. I keep forgetting there's Son of Kong, and that's not just because I think it's a bad movie. On the contrary, I remember, 6 years ago, we covered that in one of the commentaries for Kong Month. And that is a movie I really do enjoy, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't. But I think it's great. King Kong Lives, I think, is more entertaining than King Kong, and I think in certain levels too, just a better movie. Now I know that's probably blasphemy for a number of people, but the 76
Yep.
Kong, I've seen that film, gosh, like 6-7 times at least, and like I said, there's parts of it that I do like. I think Jeff Bridges, for example, is wonderful in it. The villain guy too. He was also in The Great Muppet Caper. I forget the actor's name. He's got a mustache. I think he's the CEO of the oil company in that film.
Oh, that dude. He was in that Beethoven.
Beethoven as the dad.
Yeah.
I forget the actor's name. Gordon. I want to say it's Gordon something or.
Let's find out here.
So you do that homework, but by and large, that movie, I just and the ending with Khan getting shot up is always gets me every time. But by and large, like much of that movie, I find it to be overly long and tedious, and it's hard for me to sit down. And then the 2005 film, as we talked about on here when we discussed that movie in the past, that's my all-time favorite version of that Kong story. As far as Kong movies, I think Skull Island may be my favorite. I need to spend more time with this movie. But the 2005 Kong, I think, is excellent telling. I know some folks complain at meandering. They're not necessarily wrong in saying that the film meanders, but I think the film is so vastly entertaining. You get a lot more action in it than you do in any other Kong film. And on top of that, I'm really invested in the characters and the story. I still think Jack Black as Carl Denham is still sort of a weird choice. But he's still a good actor. I just don't think of Jack Black as being like a Robert Armstrong type character, just because of two different styles of actors. But I still liked him. But I still have a weird issue with him in that film. But I think too, we get an expansion of various things between Anne and Kong in that film. Things that were obviously never expanded on in 33, and things that I think really help to explain why there's this eventual close relationship between the two. Why Anne herself even comes to love Kong and appreciate Kong. I just think it's I just think it's a beautiful film, and I think it tells the story of 33 better. And again, that doesn't mean I don't like the 33 film. On the contrary, I really do enjoy it. But I think as far as telling a more in-depth, cohesive story, I just think the 2005 film does it better.
So let's try to stay focused.
Oh, I know.
But before we do, that guy's name is Charles Grodin, or Charles Grodin. And it's hard to believe that he is 84.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
I gotta look at a picture of this guy.
Here, let me send you a link. But yes, let's definitely focus on the movie that is right in front of us here.
That's in 2013, though. That's a 6-year-old picture.
One of the last uncharted areas on the face of the earth, and you want to call it on count of rank? Stay on the boat if you want to. It could be years before.
I still like that, even though this film takes a completely different turn for the tale of Kong, they still kept certain elements. Skull Island, they actually made it look similar to a skull on the map. And then here you got that mist, but here it's sort of like a storm instead of just a haze.
I think that makes it more exciting in a way. And even though that they're still, using a boat for the same thing, trying to go through it, but they don't actually go through it with the boat, if I can remember, but they actually take helicopters through the storm to get to Skull Island, which I think is a bit better in a way, and it also sort of makes it that gives that story a little bit of meaning and a little bit more action to what we're going to be seeing here in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
Battery check. Generator start. Check. Engine start.
And the one thing I like is that that they have someone still taking pictures, but at least this time, with it not being the man in the usual Khan story, it's a woman in reversal. So it's a little bit of the same thing there, but different roles switched around. Every time I see those logos in front of the helicopters there, it reminds me of Legend of Zelda. Those little emblems.
Let's do this.
The film is pretty action oriented too, and just on top of that, it's great. It's action packed. It really gets you in there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually going to show you a link. This is the most up-to-date photo I could find on Grodin.
Let's see here.
April of this year. It's a storm. Because there's this fog that surrounds the island.
Yeah, he still looks like he is in his 80s.
He looks like Dan Gable.
A little bit, yeah.
Man, 84. Anyway.
But yeah, I really like this part of the scene. Just makes it more action-packed instead of just the usual same boring thing that we see in the Con franchise. So just a little bit more something different, like something challenging for the characters.
Well, yeah, and it's something subtle, like just like these helicopters flight from the ship into the fog, like something like that for like 2 minutes. Action oriented, just little things like that.
And then the way that they have all these little islands just sort of scattered around this entire thing. It also sort of harkens back to the 2005 con where they had a lot of those ragged rocks and everything just like scattered around when the whole crew was arriving to that Skull Island in that 2005 con film.
Then a bird flies in her face.
Yeah.
Woo, brother! Ah!
Or just bird poop.
I thought you were gonna say like burp, like she burped. Woo!
Or like she just got too excited and just fell out of the helicopter.
Yeah, that dragonfly is pretty cool.
And it's cute. Dragonflies are really cute.
They are.
Yeah.
Look at all the booze.
Well, there goes probably 200 American government dollars.
Why are the deers running?
You know, helicopters are flying overhead. They're noisy.
Because the deers will run away from cars.
Look at that
Right.
phone.
What happened?
They're testing out seismic activity, trying to get the topography of the land.
You know, for some reason, this also sort of reminds me of like Forrest Gump, where one of the guys, or I think in one of the other Vietnam-related films, where one of the guys is in the helicopter. I think this is in Full Metal Jacket, where they are in the helicopter and have one of those machine guns and just like shooting at soldiers or just people and the such. It sort of reminded me of that.
I just learned you don't want to challenge Kong to a game of darts.
Yeah.
He'll win every time.
Now we're getting into action here, and probably within 30 minutes of the film starting, or maybe just a little over that.
Timestamp here. Let's see, where's my button here? Yeah, 30 minutes. It doesn't feel like it's been 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I really like this. It's sort of a first-person look at the events that happen in this particular moment. His Dutch is okay.
Yeah.
I like this silhouette.
I like how, and I know we mentioned about this when reviewing Khan Skull Island, I really do like the design of Khan in this one, how they try to keep it a little bit like the 1933 version of Khan, but also make it a little bit more unique.
He's more anthropomorphic. He stands upright more, and he's more beefed up.
Yeah,
like he's some sort of athlete. Whereas in the other ones, yeah, he's kind of beefed up and stuff too. But he kind of looked like he had a little bit of a, I don't know, what do you call it? Like this sort of stockier bodies, like your world's strongest man type of body. What is that? I don't know. Well, I think it's pretty obvious what it is.
Is that a gorilla?
No, that's a peacock.
And of course, obviously, of all the Khan movies, this one is basically the tallest one out of all of them, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But I would like to know how, when Godzilla vs. Kong comes up, of how big he's going to get for that movie, since this was taking place around the early, maybe to mid 70s. And I think it was around what they had him. Was it a little over 100 feet?
I don't remember exactly. I want to say, yeah, like maybe 125 feet or something. Godzilla in the new films is like, I think just over 400 or something like that, if I remember.
They actually had him just under 320. Making him just a tad bit taller than the 2016 Godzilla.
That's interesting because the hey, Minecraft Dino Kaiju MDK background audio. What can you be more specific? Because I got my TV up. Are you hearing the movie? My son's in the room too. He's pretending to be Kong, so. I don't think I've seen so many bodies fly around in such a short period of time.
Yeah. I also like how he has really high accuracy.
Like
he throws things around.
In a game of darts.
Yeah.
I do like the color palette. And Kong hits a 100 for the game. I mean, can you honestly blame Kong? They come into his house, dropping bombs, killing deer and other wildlife. I mean, can you blame him for being pissed?
Yep, yeah, really.
They didn't ring the doorbell and ask.
Yeah.
By the way, we were talking about something different earlier, like when they first met Tom Hiddleston and he stuck that pool cue in that guy's mouth and slammed his face on the pool table. I've always wondered, how did he know exactly like how far to stick that pool cue without actually having it like jam through the other side of the guy's cheek?
Don't know.
Like that's some real ninja Bruce Lee thing going on there.
It's the younger version of Josh Brolin. God, Ned, Dan.
Thanos. By the way, Thanos was right. Are you hearing like some like roars or other sounds? Because my son's in the room. He's pretending to be King Kong.
Just do something.
It's raining there.
Yeah, you can barely see some of the rain in the background.
Would you be able to try to like mute your mic when you have a cough coming up?
Maybe.
The guy's got a Rambo knife. That actually looks delicious.
Not quite Rambo-ish. It would have to have like the notches and stuff on top of the knife.
Well,
His didn't.
Big-ish.
Yeah.
No, I never thought you were a spammer. I know when to spot a spammer. I'm just trying to figure out like if you're hearing like, I don't know, Jason, like can you hear stuff coming like from my window or anything?
Well, I know there's some really annoying banging going on in my apartment here.
Yeah, in your apartment there's banging. Is that your neighbor?
I actually honestly think it's 2 floors up, which is pretty darn annoying because I have no freaking clue what they're doing.
It sounds like a slow-mo chopper blade. That's what we just saw.
Yeah.
That is annoying. Holy mackerel. Like, all of a sudden it came up. You know, I have a bad feeling that, oh, well, there it stopped.
Yeah. So I want to mute my mic here for just a couple minutes here.
So Minecraft Dino Kaiju, how many times have you seen Kong Skull Island? And what are your thoughts on it? Oh, not as clear. Well, the reason why it's not so clear could potentially be like the disc itself. I'm watching on a TV that doesn't have a sound bar or any sort of stereo system. So it's just the speakers from the TV. And sometimes I found out the discs that you play, even Blu-rays, like the volume levels tend to be different sometimes. And on top, I thought you were going to mute your mic, but the reason I don't know if anybody heard that car, hopefully not, but yeah, sometimes it's the disc, and I got my window open, so perhaps some of the sound is kind of like traveling out the window. I know that sounds kooky and all that, but some of the sound kind of works on that level as well. It'll kind of go wherever. Plus, my room is more open this time than with that commentary.
Yeah,
I can turn it up here. I had to turn it down a moment ago because my daughter's sleeping in the next room, and it got a little loud there during the action scene. So excuse me. That's one of the things I dislike about Blu-ray when you're just using your TV speakers, because when you get action sequences, it gets incredibly loud. But then when they're
Yeah,
over, you have to turn it back up, and so you're always messing with the controller volume.
yeah, and it's not all that different if you have the Ultra HD. I mean, it's still Blu-ray, but it's essentially does the same thing. And then again, here within 45 minutes with Samuel L. Jackson or Packard, there with Goodman's character, that within 45 minutes he was
It is, but
sort of talking about why they're actually there.
The good one.
yeah, the Christopher guy, I think he left earlier. When we were getting started, we weren't initially in the chat because we were trying to get a few housekeeping things done. Typically, we don't get a whole lot of people on these anyways, and we let everybody know on our Facebook page, which also is connected to various social media pages that we're hooked up to as well. And we never really get a whole lot of people coming in live with us on these things. We're always happy to have people come in just because I think it's more fun.
Yeah, but afterwards there's going to be quite a bit of people watching these.
This scene that's about to come up, I always thought was really neat. I'm like, why didn't anybody think of this before?
And also, one thing comparing this film with the 2005 con is that with the 2005 one, that they had a little bit more,
That very well could be.
a little bit more variety, and then I would say a little bit of out there sort of creatures within that film. As far as this one, there is maybe a couple of far out there creatures like these ones here. But other than that, you got your, typical, somewhat normal creatures, but changed a little bit.
I wouldn't consider this far out. This is basically a giant spider.
Well, it's a little bit far out there because, it's blending in with some of the natural elements, like these spiders here, that their legs are bamboo-like their legs.
I do like the oh crap, the main villains of this movie, the
Skull crawlers.
skull crawlers. Yeah, I somehow had forgotten.
Yeah. I do like the designs of these spider-esque creatures.
Oh, I do too. Yeah, I think the after credits scene here too is really great. I think by that point in time, anybody who was following Godzilla news knew that Godzilla was going to be teamed up with Mothra, Rodan, and Ghidorah for his next film. But for anybody who didn't know at that time, yeah, I mean, that was
gross.
one of the greatest pieces of news ever. I mean, it was, even if you read about it online. But yeah, it's so are you saying that you had not seen the 2014 movie before this? Is that what you're saying?
What happened to the giant spider?
They killed it.
Take it off, guys. Move out.
He's like, what a rough day. I need a drink.
What kind? You never
Bourbon
said.
whiskey.
That actually probably would help you if you had it.
Well, I do have some bullet bourbon whiskey and some.
That's great. So do you like the 2014 film and the new 2019? This is for everybody who I keep forgetting to say the tagline. We have a healthy obsession with kaiju here.
And speaking of which, I just gonna put up some of these couple images here, just where to find us online, and as well as some of the podcast networks that we're currently on.
That's great, Minecraft Dino. Especially with the 2014 film, and maybe it's me. It seemed like it was sort of 50-50 with the fandom after the movie was settled in theaters back in 2014. It seemed like, the fandom was split down the middle as far as those who liked it and those who didn't. It just seems like since then, the 5 years since then, in my personal experience, I almost think more fans have changed their minds to not liking it. In the 2019, of course, a lot of fans absolutely love it because it's more or less a movie made for the Godzilla fans, which is fun. I think it's an entertaining movie. I do have a few issues with it, but by and large, I find it to be incredibly entertaining. I mean, I saw it twice in theaters, and I've seen it at least twice already on Blu-ray here.
The one thing I was surprised of when this movie was getting made, that they added John C. Reilly.
We do have Twitter, yes.
Into the cast. Yep. Yeah, you can see there under the like and subscribe screen there. You can follow us everywhere on these social media networks there, and you also find us at our website that we have listed right there. I also like the a little bit of the touch as far as this scene goes, because it's somewhat of a callback to Toho in a way that I forget what director wanted liked using the octopus and the giant octopus in their movies.
No, it was Eiji Tsuburaya.
Yeah, Tsuburaya. I like how they somewhat add like a nice little touch. I don't know if it was on purpose or on accident that they added a giant octopus in this film here too. Kind of I would say a nice callback.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, and forgive me if I'm wrong, I thought I read in the art of Kong Skull Island that this octopus scene was in a roundabout way sort of an homage to Tsuburaya. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure, but it's possible. Yeah, Minecraft Dino. That is one of the things I love about the new current duology of Godzilla films, in that it is taking it from a more biological / realistic standpoint. And that's one of the things I love about it, including Godzilla himself. As far as the 98 film, I am so happy to see that there is another person that enjoys that movie too. There aren't a whole lot of us out there. I guess you're right. That is a squid, not an octopus.
Mm.
Little calamari there. You like calamari, Jason?
I haven't even tried it.
It's great.
Why you bring that up? Because it's basically like octopus in a way.
It is octopus.
Mm.
That's just a nice little touch. Like the squid's a little heavy, and he's just like, "Oh crap!" and he just like tugs harder. The 98 animated series is great too. I do myself own that on DVD. I pre-ordered that when I first heard that it was coming out. Gosh, that was what, maybe I want to say 2013 when that set came out, maybe early 2014, somewhere in there. I remember when we were growing up, I was in my teens when that 98 film came out and when that animated series shortly came out. Uh, I remember every Saturday morning, you and I actually on the weekends would get up early just to watch and record that cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And for the longest time, we tried to record as many of those episodes as we could. This is back in the days of VHS.
Yeah. And the island inhabitants here, I like how they're a little bit more civilized, and not like the sort of like the past Kong movies, except for the 2005 one, which they were like completely insane and savage. Whereas this one, I think they're, I would say, a bit more civilized compared to the other Skull Island inhabit.
Basically, what you're saying is they are not stereotypes.
No.
I like this scene coming up where kind of as the camera pans, all these different little painted notches actually make one giant collage.
Yeah.
If those are tattoos on the Islanders, oh man, I would hate to be that tattoo artist. You probably never got a day.
Both like the paint that's on them, and then the actual like permanent like skin type of welts that are actually tattoos. Probably like scriptures in the way that the way that looks.
I feel 99.9% confident neither Godzilla nor Kong will be killed in 2020. I remember bringing this up an odd number of months ago. I was saying I bet Kong and Godzilla are going to eventually end up teaming up to fight another kaiju. What that will be, I don't know. And then after the movie came out and everything, many other people, I'm not saying I'm the originator of this idea, but I noticed a lot of other people started thinking the same way, in that Kong and Godzilla probably will team up to fight a big baddie. And it was confirmed, well, not confirmed, but Michael Dougherty, the director of King of the Monsters, was teasing another kaiju.
Like either possibly Ghidorah again, or another mutation in a way that's more threatening to both.
Oh, the natives of Skull Island. It'll be interesting to see what they do. It'll depend on whether or not they even go there. I mean, I'm sure some of it will be filmed, but whether or not any island natives will be filmed, I don't know.
I might have a feeling that they will, because I think a lot of the film is going to be in Skull Island.
Is it?
Maybe. If it's been a while since I've read anything related to Godzilla vs. Kong.
I will say this. The end credits to King of the Monsters, I believe, had a paper clipping that said Godzilla was making his way to Skull Island. If the next movie does indeed do that, then I do think they will have one fight there. And then they'll have a bigger fight probably in an urban area.
Well, then, of course, they had other paper clippings about other monsters going to Skull Island, which was annoying Kong.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the Monarch outpost over there.
That would be interesting to see why those other monsters would be going over there. Like, do they consider Kong a threat? And if so, why?
Well, and then too with the Hollow Earth thing within this universe, I think a lot of them are going through these tunnels and stuff and arriving at Skull Island.
I mean, I don't care how they get there. I'm more concerned about where they're going there. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if, like, maybe Jonah or whatever infiltrated Skull Island, and they have sort of a backup plan to sort of call the Titans over there. If you've ever seen Rampage, maybe something similar to what they did in that film to call George, Lizzie, and Ralph.
You're talking about possibly using the Orca device?
Didn't that get destroyed? Yeah, it did, because oh gosh, now I forgot her name. Vera Farmiga's character, she had it, was using it to lure Ghidorah away from the chopper, and then she got killed. Spoiler alert for anybody who's not seen the new Godzilla movie.
But I may have a feeling that they might have actually made another device for that, if that happens. But we'll have to see when.
Yeah, that's all we can.
That movie comes out.
See, Rodan could be a part of that. I mean, I'm not discounting the possibility that Warner Brothers has another license or two for other kaiju, and I'm sure they're licensed to use Rodan, Mothra, and Ghidorah expands through this trilogy. Well, at least from the monsters through Godzilla vs. Kong.
Well, and from the paper clippings at the end of King of the Monsters, it seems like there's a good chance of Mothra possibly being in Godzilla vs. Kong.
I'm not going to discount that either, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we just kind of have to wait and see. Because there's so many possibilities here.
Yeah, and hopefully soon we should get a first trailer for that movie, because that's almost 6 months from now. And I think from what I've heard, as far as rumors go, that the possible of that trailer being released is when Joker comes out.
Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully we'll still be around by the time you get back. By the way, John C. Reilly, major surprise for this movie too, as far as cast.
Yeah.
Typically, and he does do some funny here, but none of the funny is groaner. I really like it. The comedy here isn't over the top or hyperbole or anything like that. I do like him in this movie. He does a good job of being serious, but also providing just enough comedic relief to sort of lighten things up just a bit.
Yeah, I was mentioning about that earlier, that I was pretty surprised when they casted John C. Reilly.
Yeah, and I like him an awful lot. And I like, too, the callback here with the giant gate. This time, though, they add a bunch of spikes on it. That's a nice little touch, too.
Why is that gal getting stuck?
Because the helicopter fell on him.
Are some people going to help it?
You just got to watch, bud.
I'd like to know how long that was under that helicopter there.
For however long they've been there.
Because it seems like they've been there for at least a couple days.
My guess would be at least 2 days. That's amazing how, that cow's big compared to us, but then it's really tiny compared to Kong. It's probably like what the size of a hamster is to us.
I would say that. I would say maybe like a small little dog. I also like here too, comparing the other Kong movies and this one here. Whereas at first sight, he always gets infatuated by the female character, but as in this film, he's not so quite infatuated with the woman at first sight.
Thank God.
But at least he grows onto her, towards the end of the film.
Well, and that's just because he knows her and Tom Hiddleston and some of those other people. They're not out to like hurt him or anything else on the island, because he can distinguish like between Sam Jackson and his group and the rest. So he just knows, because and we kind of missed out on this because we were talking about a few other things, but like John C. Reilly, when they first introduced him and he was given that exposition about kind of the history of the island and some of the history of the Kongs and stuff, he basically was saying, Kong's kind of the peacekeeper of the island, and the skull crawlers have been kind of the biggest, makers of mischief, if you want to say so, on the island. And so that's why there's kind of, and then too, there's this whole history. I think the skull crawlers, if I'm not mistaken, were ones that may have killed his parents too. I don't know if we learned that in this movie or what, but
I think so. I think maybe in the prequel comics too.
But yeah, I mean, it's this is a different Kong in a way.
Yeah. And this time around with that huge gates or the huge fence or wall for the islanders there, at least this time it's not to keep really Kong out, but mainly for the skull crawlers in this one compared to the other Kong movies where it's much more different, a different turn or a different take. And then, and also that he doesn't really, like with Hiddleston and stuff, he sort of Kong sort of doesn't do much of like go after Hiddleston or something. He's sort of like, hey, you're not hurting me, so you're pretty cool and all that stuff. But like in the other Kong movies, if he sees any male, he'll go after.
Yeah, he looks at it as a threat or a challenge.
But in this movie, though, when Hiddleston is there along with Brie Larson, that he's pretty chill with both of them.
Well, and like I said too, I mean, this is a different Kong movie with Kong. I don't want a fourth iteration of that classic Kong tale.
Right. Yeah. Right.
We have two movies that have done that, and it's just like I don't want to be seeing that anymore. It's kind of like a log bug. This poor little bug. I feel bad for him. He just was like, oh man, like I wasn't out to hurt you. I was just out to scare you. This is a pretty violent movie too. I've almost wondered at times too, like if this movie came out in the 80s, would it have been rated R?
I don't know, but comparing like was it King Kong then King Kong Lives, where I think in the 76 Kong movie where he actually rips apart that snake or the or a boa constrictor, and then in Kong Lives he like snaps a guy in half.
Yeah.
And then eats one too.
Yeah. That scene always makes me happy though. Because those guys were being absolute jerks to him. It's just like they deserve to like get that punishment. Like the saying goes, you mess with the bull, you get the horns.
Every time I see that one guy that I was talking to John, it reminds me of that one comedian from many years ago. I forget his name. What's that?
Charlie Chaplin? Groucho Marx?
Maybe.
Larry Fine?
No.
Like, I can't hear anything. Quit whispering, Tom Hiddleston. That's about what it sounds.
Pancakes.
I didn't realize he was such a fan. There's IHOP.
Yeah.
Are you muting your mic?
I'm trying to, but they always come up.
Because I keep hearing your face, and I don't like that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just checking here.
Bud, hey, you're getting a little rough. Settle down. You're creating too much unnecessary sound. You can move around a little bit, but you're creating too much noise. Good for you, Sam Jackson. Would you like a cookie? He ain't heavy. He's my brother.
Did we just become best friends? Yep. Oh, so much noise. Quite a bit of commotion going on there.
Yeah, they're trying to get this clunker started.
Well, I'm just saying that I can clearly hear.
Well, I know that, and I'm not surprised at that. Like I was saying, like I turned it up because I couldn't hear Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson, but then you get these action moments, and it's like in your ear, go deaf.
I like how all the Islanders just stand there and just stare and not really.
How do they communicate with each other?
Anything.
Like, does their body paint in a way do the communicating?
I don't know. I don't know how they would. I'm not even sure if like all the crew that set up this movie and everything actually know how they would communicate.
It's kind of neat there.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little Pirates of the Caribbean.
And also a little bit different than the usual big, huge gated door that they have for all these con movies.
It's a nice change. Ron's on the other side.
That kind of reminds me of the 98 Godzilla with those footprints.
Yeah.
Just overlooking it.
They probably got that inspiration from the 98 movie, but just didn't want to publicly admit it for obvious reasons.
I don't even know if anyone would actually catch on to that, though.
Oh, I'm sure there's some people that have. No, you aren't. You act like him. You aren't scared. What are you talking about? Give me a break.
What's Lincoln talking about?
We get scared when Kong is mad. And it's like, no, he was acting like Kong during those scenes. Not scared of him. Who are you trying to fool?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like Godzilla. He gets angry when he sees Ghidorah.
I get angry when I see a Krispy Kreme donut box and I open it up and there's nothing in it.
Yeah. Or just any donut box.
Box 5, come back. Is there anyone else there? Hey, that's box 5. We hear you. Yeah, we're all both. One of us headed up north on a river. Oh, where's your boat?
Can I also order a pizza too?
Yeah, boat, a thing that floats on water.
We're here on this new discovered island called Skull Island.
Let me tell you my life story. I was born June 10th, 1952.
I just set myself on fire. It'd been funny if, like, when Jackson shoots that, it actually backfires and then all the sparks and stuff just lights up his sleeve on fire. No!
That's so random yet fun.
Yeah. With that guy getting taken away.
That's okay. That's all right.
Somebody want to say anything about the...
Swear words, guys. My kid's here.
Well, they don't know.
I should go up to the and yell, "Stop it, guys! My kid is here." Come on. I'm glad you're having fun, but you gotta simmer down a little bit. You can't be creating a bunch of unnecessary noise. If you can't settle down a little bit, you go in bed. You're standing up. That's why you can't move it.
Talk about that, but you're gonna need a lot more guns. You're gonna go what? Guys, I think it's tomorrow. Good job. Fine. Lost me, right? Okay, so if we reach that position and he's not there, we don't have to.
Well, if they're lost, they're lost.
God looks fat.
Maybe with a double chin. One question. Why so serious?
Why so serious? I used to do an almost perfect Heath Ledger Joker impression. I haven't done it in years.
Oh, really?
Quite wee-wee.
What is that?
Kong's parents
Or his species.
died. They either died of old age or the skull crawlers got them. I can't remember if we find out or not.
I don't know. I think someone might have said it somewhere on the internet.
Yeah. Like Abe Lincoln says, don't believe everything you read on the internet. It's a monster.
Oh, you got different other
Yeah.
cons there. And then you also had some human skulls in there. So you got a variety of species within that concentrated area.
Yeah, but I think that's a deadly gas in there, though, too. That's part of the problem.
Well, if it was deadly, why they not wear masks?
They will, I think, here shortly. See, watch. They'll find out. They'll find out that what they're breathing is toxic. That's your son. Well, around my area, we never really got the 2019 Godzilla toys other than like the tall, like 12-inch version of Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Kong Skull Island, I think the only thing we got around here too is like the 12-inch Kong. Never got some of those sets or anything like that.
I haven't really checked Walmart because they're the ones that usually carry the MonsterVerse figurines, whereas Target doesn't. But in their, I would say, sort of their pop culture section that they have over where they sell the movies and everything the only ones I've seen is the NECA of the 2014 Godzilla, and I think the Godzilla for Space Godzilla, and then just recently they brought in the exclusive NECA of the Godzilla King of the Monsters poster version of Godzilla.
Yeah. But I noticed too, like Warner Brothers on their site.
I couldn't quite hear it. Yeah, you were breaking up a bit.
Warner Brothers on their site didn't sell any King of the Monsters merch like they did with 2014, and it almost makes me wonder if they weren't confident in the film, because in 2014, Warner Brothers site sold shirts, ornaments, sandals, you name it, and you could find 2014 products out and about. Like, I had no problems finding that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then 2019 comes along, they don't sell anything on their site, and the only thing I'm able to find is the 12-inch Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, just in general, like the number of products that were readily available. Like, we were supposed to get some of these costumes.
Mm-hmm.
I have yet to even see some of that stuff online. Hey, welcome back, Minecraft Dino.
Well, I bet you can find those costumes at mainly the Halloween stores online.
Yeah, we'll find out. But it almost makes me wonder if Warner Brothers didn't have faith in the film. And that's why, like, licensing may have been very limited, which is incredibly unfortunate considering we had quite a few things for 2014, and I was thinking we were going to get a lot more for 2019, and that just wasn't the case.
Or I'm probably guessing that they were just going by with the numbers that they got from when selling the 2014 stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. And I almost wonder, though, too, if part of it could be maybe 2014 stuff didn't sell as well as they had hoped, and so they cut back on products, which, again, is sad if that's true.
That's probably my guess.
Here we go with some samurai stuff. Going, whoa. How did he know some of those were coming there? You can't really see. You just got to keep swinging and hope here.
Yeah, just look at that vision that he had there.
Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston. You are in the part where they're in the Kong graveyard. They're fighting skull crawlers now.
I am.
Yeah, you're going to be eating for about 2 or 3 weeks now.
What happened to it?
You killed it.
That skull's breathing fire.
John C. Reilly versus Samuel L. Jackson with a machine gun. Who do you got?
I want to go with Riley.
I'm going with Riley, too.
Please, sir, don't shoot.
Tomorrow's Christmas, yeah?
Look, I've got my hands up. Well, that's obvious.
His Dutch is okay. Yeah, it'd be great. I just want some awesome monster action regardless in 2020. I would like to just have a really good Godzilla versus Kong battle.
Yeah.
I'm thirsty.
You gotta wait. Actually, you can take a drink of this. Have a sip of my Miller Lite.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's not true. The raspberry bubbly. I can't see because of your big head.
Because of that fuzzy face.
Yeah, shave your fuzzy face.
Yes, sir, I am lost.
That'd be funny. Are we lost? He stands up slowly and turns them. Well, technically, aren't we all lost?
Doesn't look like it.
Sounds like a bird. It's a fucking ant. Gather up everything you can, including those seismic charges. They got me your first. Bill, Cole, truck this order. Take him a special gift out of that lake.
Oh no, I lost some bullets. But he lights it up and then it just like a big, huge explosion.
It's probably what they're aiming for.
Well, like all that fire just explodes right in front of his face there.
Oh,
burns a few hairs like eyebrows and then probably his entire head.
It burns a few hairs like what happened to me. Like you got experience in this?
Nope.
I'm sure that's probably something similar to what we're going to see in 2020. That's my prediction.
This sort of familiar scene or something? Is that what you're talking about?
What Minecraft Dino brought up, saying, can you imagine if another big one appeared in 2020 and either fought Godzilla or one of the Titans or escaped Skull Island and terrorized the city?
Well, that's sort of what we've discussed earlier, that we've been sort of on the same page and sort of predicting that both Godzilla and Kong would team up to fight like a bigger threat.
And that threat was the internet. The entire internet. Like the internet turned into some mechanical mess.
Explosions everywhere.
Kong's acting like, man, really? Again. I'm tired of doing this.
Will these guys just go away?
Okay, Batman. Oh, that would be interesting considering, the anime trilogy where the Mechagodzilla was a city, but this time the Mechagodzilla is an incarnation of the internet. That's a perfect idea. If I were you, I would trademark that story idea.
I ain't scared of you.
I think we're all a little insane in some way.
What?
Now his Dutch is dead.
Yeah.
He's hurt.
So that's why he's sleeping.
Yeah.
I also like how they add this little bit of touch where he goes down and stuff, like when they try to capture him in those previous Kong movies, but this time with fire
Yeah.
in this movie. But yet they don't even capture him. They try to kill him.
What's that noise again?
Marching band.
We don't like it. The state brought us down until my men. Kong was just defending the township. We are soldiers. We do the dirty work so our families and our countrymen don't have to be afraid.
His she video, I guess I'm not familiar with that. You're gonna have to explain. I did sort of wonder why, but the movie ends up cutting to the credits, I think, at about that time as the helicopters are making their way to the island.
Talking about the ending for this movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they go into the island and you see Kong, and then I think it cuts right there.
Yeah, he may have beat his chest to or something.
Yeah, I believe so. Spoiler alert for all those that haven't seen this movie yet.
You're not ruining anything there. I mean,
yeah, I know.
Oh, how it should have ended. I'll have to check those out. Is that like a channel? They want to end you on a little bit of a cliffhanger. I'll have to check that out. I know there's I don't remember the name of the channel, but they do like everything wrong with like they'll do something like everything wrong with Avengers and
Are you talking about cinema something?
I'm not sure what
I think the channel's like it has cinema at the beginning and then cinema blend or something like that. Well, that's the end of Jackson.
The mother skull crawler. That's amazing. This two-legged serpentine beast is able to overpower Kong.
Sort of reminds me of that one monster from Godzilla the series, or yeah, Godzilla the series, the animated.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe they stole from that. I like this setting here. Again, it just reminds me like a Pirates of the Caribbean setup. Yeah, thank you, Cinema Synth. I couldn't remember the
name. I knew it had cinema in the name. Well, the other thing that reminds me, like you talk about it having that Pirates of the Caribbean-esque thing, this sort of reminds me of a live-action version of the Uncharted video game. If anyone out there is familiar with that game, like have Hiddleston as Nathan Drake, and then Brie Larson as that one other gal that becomes his love interest.
I keep mistaking the nostrils on the skull crawlers for eyes. What a way to go. Thinking you're potentially gonna severely hurt or kill that beast, and just kind of knows that.
But at least the skull crawler there is pretty intelligent and knows what was going on with that guy trying to lure it towards him.
Here's a daytime fight for everybody.
And I know a lot of people have been complaining of like the new Godzilla movies of basically most of the battles there are during the nighttime, but at least with this one here, you get a daytime fight.
I don't have a problem. I was watching a video of someone, I'm not gonna say who, here the other day, and they spent, no joke, probably half their video on Godzilla King of the Monsters just complaining about night battles all the time. I'm just like, just get over it. It's not that big of a deal. If that's the hill you want to die on, then so be it. I think it's kind of ridiculous, but
right.
It's one of those, you can't make everybody happy. You finally get the movie you want. We might get one. This is just a wonderful battle. I really like it.
I would say the best Kong battle in the franchise.
I don't know. I really like the Kong versus the three of the Stastosaurs in 2005.
I would say at least this is more entertaining Kong battle.
Again, I don't know. This is really good. No, don't get me wrong, but that one is also really good, and it goes on for like 10 minutes or whatever.
When you were saying about the skull crawler, you kind of confuse the nostrils with the eyes there. Well, I think those are actually nostrils there because, like,
No, I
right
know they
behind.
are.
What's that?
I know they are.
Okay.
That's
I
what
was
I
just
said. I
making
keep
sure.
confusing the nostrils for eyes.
Yeah.
I really like how Kong just, I keep forgetting the word. He's just kind of, why do I keep forgetting words on this podcast? Never mind. The way the Alpha Skullcrawler dies, though. Yeah, that is brutal. I a little confession here. When I first saw this in theaters, I had to momentarily turn away. Like it was, I think, gonna make me sick.
Well, it's like when I saw that along with friends of mine when we went to see this as part of my birthday, and all of us saw that, we were just like, "Oh God!"
Well, yeah, and you thought I like the tease kill. Like you thought, when Kong does this one move, you think he finally killed it, and it's like nope, and it's like we're gonna go one step brutal.
Yeah. Or like when he uses that boat propeller there and just.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, that's gotta hurt.
I do like the design of these skull crawlers. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Something fun and unique for the series.
Mm-hmm. I'd say just about as interesting as the Muto designs.
Used when seeing the movie.
I don't know if you heard me, but it's like their design is about as interesting as the Muto designs in this series.
The Muto,
or the universe.
Cool. They're underappreciated too. I don't think a person would necessarily think like that in a moment like that.
No, not really.
Ugh.
Oh.
Yeah, like right
there. Yeah, I remember when I saw that, I was like, oh man, it's like that should have killed it right there.
Yeah, I was just thinking like, you know all the veins and stuff that, run up your neck.
Yeah.
What do you think, bud? It's kind of funny how this movie ends at the same time because in a way Brie Larson kind of gets mildly eaten, but in a way Kong saving her is a means of actually finally killing this thing. And here we go, we're gonna get ready here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just
You know what would be funny if this movie kept making it seem like the skull crawler died, but then it keeps coming back, and then and then it keeps coming back.
Or the other thing when Kong just slowly opens his hand that he has Brie Larson in, like she's just all smushed up.
The skull crawler like bites the hand again, and then Kong pulls something else out, and then you think it's dead. Kong opens up his hand again. The skull crawler eats the hand again, and Kong pulls something else out. It's never ending. Muto Prime was really cool. It reminded me very much of the female Muto, just with some slight alterations.
Yeah.
If I want the Muto toy, I can move it if I want.
No, that's not how it works, dude. If you want a Muto toy, we can work on it some other way. You just don't take it because you want it. It's mine. I'll give it to you if I want to give it to you. I'm very possessive.
I thought he's already had one.
No, he doesn't have one.
Probably find something on eBay or Amazon.
You wanted my Spider-Man, so I gave you my Spider-Man. Yeah, you and your fake crying. You and your sister are bad. You guys are fakers. Let me start getting some classic music as we get ready to close out the movie.
Yeah, hard to believe we're basically right at the end of the movie.
These commentaries always seem to go by so quickly.
Yeah. Even though sometimes we sort of wander off, talk about other things.
Yeah. Oh, stop it.
What's wrong?
This internet.
Why does it keep doing that?
It looks like they're coming just shortly after you got done with this battle. So why do we think Brooks came back to Monarch in King of the Monsters? I guess I'm trying to remember who Brooks is in the movie.
I think that's the African American guy that's in this film, but much older version. I think he's played as that guy that was in, was it Terminator 2 Judgment Day?
Oh, is that him?
Yeah.
Holy mackerel, I didn't. Boy. Why do I think he came back to Monarch? Because I think part of it's probably life's work. Plus, when you're that deep in an organization that's been keeping stuff so secretive for a while, like, you kind of almost have no choice, I think, in a way.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we're at the end of the movie here. They're just showing some film here of John C. Reilly's character back home in Chicago.
Okay, I'm going to fast forward to the credits stinger. I don't know about you.
I'm just sticking with it.
Okay, well, I'm fast forwarding here. I'm going to turn it up so that way you can hear when I get to the part. In the comics, it's supposed to be retired. Yeah, some of those prequel comics, though, some of them do follow kind of faithfully in some respects, especially if, like the prequel comic Aftershock, I think it was, for Godzilla, it follows the events after 2014 really well, but certain things don't add up to the 2019, and I think a lot of that is just because they don't have access to the story. So certain things obviously are not going to match up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. I'm turning this thing up pretty loud.
Why are you keeping it here? I want to go home. We get it. There was no island. Never an island. Island? What island? Brooks, what the hell is going on? Monarch. This island is just the beginning.
There's more out there.
What do you mean? More. This world never belonged to us. It belonged to them. The question is how long before they take it back.
You know, I just decided to skip to the indie
Oh,
part
yeah.
myself. I know I'm going to be far behind you.
doing?
Yeah, and I also like that part of the ending of the credit scenes there where they have Godzilla's howl.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was in theaters there with some friends, I was like, oh my god, so excited.
Yeah. Godzilla roar. Yeah, the Godzilla roar I think is the icing on the cake in that after credit sequence. My biggest disappointment is that somehow Tom Hiddleston's character, and I understand his character would have aged quite a bit, but his character did not make a return for the King of the Monsters movie.
Or I was kind of hoping that they would have him in Godzilla vs. Kong, even Brie Larson's character.
We will find out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Kong Skull Island. So Lincoln, what do you think of the movie, bud?
It's good.
It's good.
Hope says that word.
I know she does. Now, you like which one do you potentially like better? Do you maybe like the Godzilla movie better? Or do you like this movie better?
I like Godzilla movies.
You like the Godzilla movie better?
Yeah.
I would say yeah. I really like both really well. But I would say if I had to pick, yeah, I would watch the King of the Monsters film a little bit more. Okay, Jason, and now to you, since this is your second time watching the film.
I actually like it much better the second viewing. I think it has much more action in it this time around, and I would say you see more of the monsters in this one compared to obviously Godzilla 2014. Obviously,
you can put the camera's back on, by the way.
But yeah, let me do that here. All right, and yeah, you see more of the monsters or creatures in this movie compared to 2014. I'm not sure how much more monster time in this one compared to King of the Monsters. I'm probably guessing a little bit more in that sort of respect. But the action, the visual effects in this movie is pretty damn good, especially for a Kong movie. I say it's, I would say it's, as far as visuals, I would say a little bit better than the 2005, or I'll probably say far better than that. And the daytime battle is really good, or the main battle, the one that we just saw a few minutes ago. And it's like just seeing some of the detailing of how the Skullcrawler was killed off in that one is just sort of kind of a gut-wrenching sort of thing. But it's just, the movie just really gets you in. It's really entertaining, action-packed, a really good story, something that's so much more different than what you would see in a regular Kong movie, the one that's just recycled every time. You get a refresh or a different take on the Kong character himself. And to me, that is so much better of what they did with this film. I really enjoyed how they did it.
Yeah.
They really pulled it off pretty damn well for it.
Yeah, Minecraft Dino Kaiju says I was hoping for Hank Marlowe. Yeah, the thing is, though, I almost wonder he probably would have been a little old. Maybe he would have died off, perhaps, by the events of King of the Monsters. Also, it was good. Thanks for the commentary. Thank you, Dino Kaiju. Also, I like the 2014 movie better than this one and slightly more than King of the Monsters. You are like me. You're a rare breed. The 2014 film, I think, is close to perfection. There's a lot I could go on about that. In fact, I would listen to our 2014 podcast from back in 2014. And and the commentary. And like you said, I think you listened to that one you said. But yeah, the 2014 film, to me, like I said, is near perfection. There's a lot, I think, to love about that movie. King of the Monsters is incredibly entertaining. I do like watching it, but at the same time, I do think it squandered some of the artistic and story elements that Gareth Edwards and his crew had set up in the previous film. I feel like, in terms of story quality, character quality, and sort of an artistic quality, I think the King of the Monsters took a step or two down. But I do think Kong Skull Island is kind of right there with 2014 on many levels.
Mm-hmm.
You bet $20 that Kong will die. Again, I have a hard time believing that's going to happen. I think they'll fight some big bad, like King Ghidorah will regenerate and come back, or there would be some other kaiju coming along. I think Godzilla and Kong will walk away their own separate ways.
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing either of the two monsters dying in the film.
They're going to pull sort of that whole Freddy versus Jason, Alien versus Predator.
Or
where it's very ambiguous.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't really see any of that happening at all.
Where was the fight between Godzilla and the Mutos? Yeah, it would have been nice, but then again, budget constraints maybe. But at the same time, too, what they were trying to set up in that particular scene had nothing to do with Godzilla fighting the Mutos. It was more about trying to find their missing son, and the fact that they blamed Godzilla for the destruction because he was a sole survivor. So they blame him for the death of their son. So I think that's kind of what the meaning of that particular opening was about. But with that being said, again, I love Kong Skull Island. Fun movie. I think anybody who's a fan of kaiju films has to watch it. You have to watch it. I think it's, again, similar to 2014, a near masterpiece. Yeah, with that being said, thank you once again to Minecraft Dino Kaiju MDK. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation. It's been great. We always love having people come on, and with these commentaries, I think it makes it that much more interesting. We will keep you and everyone else posted as far as what we're going to do for next month's podcast. Might end up being another commentary on King of the Monsters. That's not official yet, but that's kind of where I think we're going to lean. And I got to get this guy to bed. And I think with that being said, thank you so much for listening, and hope to see you guys, the 2 or 3 that were here.
Yeah, sometime next month. But before we actually go, just want to let everyone know here that we're on several different podcast networks, from Apple Podcasts, Google Play, as well as iHeartRadio, Spotify, and TuneIn. And then you can also see us live on 4 different streaming platforms, including YouTube, Twitch, DLive, and Periscope as well. And then you can also follow us on some of these social networks here that are listed by icons. And then also make sure to like and subscribe to any of our channels that we have. And you'd also find us over at DaikajuNetwork.com. So with that, I don't know. We don't have a specific date yet for the next podcast, but soon Ket and I will figure that out, and we will let you all know. So until then, we'll see you guys next month.
Yeah, we'll see you next month. Minecraft Dino Kaiju. You want to say bye, Lincoln? Bye.
Yep. All right. Take it easy, everyone.